Hey everybody, DeLongshot Signatures here. This is episode 107 of my 2024 TTM returns. I have 8 more successes to share with you all. Got quite a few NHRA hero cards in here. We're going to start off with a few of those. This first one is a 1-of-1 success coming back in 30 days from current top fuel driver Sean Reed. First time I've ever gotten his autograph. Grabbed a couple of these hero cards while I was at the track and found, I think, a home address for him. He sponsors his own team and everything, so I highly doubt that he has too much of a race shop. Probably just runs it out of the excavating warehouse that he has. Unfortunately, the hero card did get bent a little bit, so that kind of sucks. But regardless, still have one signed, new name for the collection, and hopefully he'll continue to race next year. I can get a better one. Then we have a big name here. This is a 4-of-2 success in 30 days from Drag Racing Hall of Famer, Pro Stock legend. Super awesome to get these signed. And he included 2 extras of his own, so I'm going to try and show the ones that I think that I sent. It's got to be these 2. We got the Professor Warren Johnson. So I've gotten him TTM before. That was on some cards, and I sent some hero cards this time, so he signed both of those. And then he included this one, which folds out and has like a whole thing about his career, which is awesome. And then a really nice looking one, very clean and crisp, from the 2000 season. So awesome of him to include those. Signed nicely in blue, great signature still. Very happy to add those. Then we have a professional football player. This is an NFL success. Got 2-of-2 back in 18 days from Giants linebacker Bobby Okereke. He was originally with the Colts, and I believe the draft pick was announced by Pat McAfee. This was in 2019. He did a whole spiel about how the Titans probably don't recognize him because the Colts did not punt against them very much. But I think he said Bobby Okereke when he announced the pick. But Okereke has been a pretty solid defender, especially over the past 3-4 seasons. I think he has 6 sacks, 5 interceptions, and has been one of the league leaders in tackles for the past few years, getting over 100 the last 3 seasons. Then we have another hero card return. I'm a little torn on this one just because the signatures look like crap compared to authentic ones that I've seen, but it looks like it worked. The hero cards are also pretty beat up as well, but I'm going to count it as a success for now unless I have some reason not to. But 2-of-2 in 32 days from former NHRA funny car driver Mike Ashley. I had definitely heard of him, but had never met him before or anything. I had a couple of hero cards, so I figured I'd at least try and look and see if I could find something. The address made sense, so I figured I'd send out to him. And I thought, okay, maybe he just did a quick signature or something, but I can't find anything that looks terribly similar. But it doesn't look like he signs very much or even signed too much back then, because for some reason a lot of his stuff on eBay is really expensive. That's what I use to compare signatures and everything. So most drivers, especially NHRA ones, you can look up and it'll be $10, $15, $20 depending on how good the driver was. For some reason his are in the $60 to $70 range. They're much more full signatures. They actually look like they resemble a name. These look like very rushed, quick signatures. So maybe he didn't want to sign. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to count these as a success and count him as a new name in the collection. Then we have a 3-of-4 success coming back in 26 days from former NHL 500 goal scorer Peter Bondra. I did include a check for $20, and he signed 3 of the 4. So maybe his fee has gone up from $5. But he signed these 3 cards for me. And then he didn't sign the Upper Deck Young Gun. So I'll have to send again and hopefully try and get that signed. I don't know if he charges more for that or if I just didn't send enough to have all of them signed. I sent sometime last year, and they said that he was not in the country, but to try again in November. And I waited much longer after that to try again, but very quickly got it back this time. Was a very solid player back in the day. Like I said, over 500 goals. If they had the Rocket Richard Trophy when he was playing at the time, he would have shared it one year, I think, with Yager for most goals in a season. So that could have added to his hardware. No personal hardware, no accolades. Did have 5 All-Star Game appearances. So overall, very solid goal scorer for the Capitals, which is funny because then Ovechkin would come in later and win all those Rocket Richards. So very cool to have that. And then continuing with the hockey, we have a Hockey Hall of Famer, albeit controversially. 2 of 2 success in 19 days from former NHL player, coach, executive, and like director of discipline or something like that, Colin Campbell. So this one, it looked like he tried to sign in blue and then just signed over it. But he played over 600 games as an NHL defenseman. Pretty decent career with all that. I think he made a Stanley Cup final and lost with the Canucks back in the day. He would later be the coach for the New York Rangers for 4 seasons. And then bounced around through several different executive roles throughout the NHL. But most notably worked under Gary Bettman in charge of player discipline. And the reason I say he was controversially added was because, one, not very many people probably know who Colin Campbell is, unless you're like a really old school hockey fan. So it definitely wasn't his playing career that got him in. And the disciplinary actions are not the greatest track record. And some of you guys might remember the story of John Scott getting voted into the All-Star game. John Scott was a goon, a fighter, an enforcer, whatever you want to call him. Did not play the scoring aspect of hockey very well at all. Was just kind of a big body on the ice that could, throw a hit and, fight pretty much. He rarely scored in his career. But as a joke, fans voted him into the All-Star game, and he got enough votes to make it. So it was, this kind of troll job by the fans, but it was kind of a cool moment. And several executives were very unhappy with that. And Colin Campbell tried convincing John Scott that he shouldn't play in the All-Star game. He should decline because it would be embarrassing for the league, and he would wonder how his children would feel about it. He did several other things that weren't the greatest. But John Scott would play in that All-Star game and win All-Star MVP. So, not a great look on the league for that story to come out. But he's going into the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't know if the induction ceremony's already happened. I imagine it has. But still glad to add a Hall of Famer to the collection. Now we will end with 2 college football running backs. First one is a 2 of 2 success in 19 days, coming back from Rice running back Dean Connors. Kind of just looked at a list of the leading rushers, and this guy's a pretty good receiver as well out of the backfield, and sent to some of them. So got that photo signed, and then this photo from a practice that they had looked really cool. He's flying over the offensive line there. Not sure if that's like a goal line kind of thing that they're doing, but regardless, I thought it was a really good picture, and he signed both of those. And then in the same amount of time, 2 of 2 in 19 days, we got some signed photos from Ohio running back Anthony Tyus III. And I want to say he leads his conference in rushing yards with Ohio. Believe he transferred from Northwestern. and doing really good with Ohio this year, even though without Curtis Rourke, they aren't as strong. But he himself is having a pretty decent season. I don't know where he falls in terms of like NFL prospect or really for either one of these guys, but I just saw their names, saw their stats. I'm like, these guys are some pretty good players, and they're at, smaller schools, smaller Division I schools. So I thought maybe I'd have a better chance, and it worked out. That is it for this week. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. Best luck with your guys' collecting. Take care.